Now there's a legitimate problem of minority representation on the bench. I mean, if you look at our court system, especially with elected judges, there's a dearth of minorities on the bench. What can the Democratic Party do to cure that problem?
We can do what the Republicans did. They went out, they recruited. They actually went out and recruited. They identified people, which is what we need to be doing right now. We need to be identifying people for every seat or the seat that we want people to run in and identify those, and we need to get out and start now. You can't wait for 4 years to start working. There are a lot of vulnerable seats. They chose the ones, but they went out and they recruited those people. Then they started grooming them, putting them in places, introducing them to people in the community. We wonder why Phil, I was shocked as anybody. Because he won that seat. Bipartisan support, black, white, didn't have anything to do with color, but they targeted that seat.
That's an issue I work passionately towards as far as minority representation on the bench, and I think the main problem with that is judges shouldn't be elected in the first place.
Thank you.
The bottom line is we laid out the greatest case you can. Judge Mac Parsons laid out the best case you could lay out for somebody to be fired with Judge Parker, who actually, they changed their budget in the Supreme Court because he was not doing any work. So they took away his help and gave it to somebody else, because over the last however many years, he's only written, last year only wrote 2 or so opinions. So generally speaking, if you don't do your job, you get fired. Well, the state of Alabama took that, and the sad thing is, the way he spun it was, well, you don't want activist judges writing opinions. We don't want judges just to write opinions because we think they need to. But honestly, the only way to diversify the bench, because as it stands right now, there's only been 3 statewide elected, there's only been 3 statewide black judges. Okay? Ralph Cook, Oscar Adams, and my father, John England. All 3 of which were appointed and ran afterwards. Now, when my father ran, there was a big issue with him first, because he talked to Ralph Cook about it, and he asked him, will it be okay if 2 black folks ran at the same time? Because obviously, one of the main issues we're talking about is race. It's race. So when you put politics involved with a statewide bench, race is going to be an issue. And it's one thing we haven't discussed, and I think it's something that this election brought to the forefront, that we're going to have to deal with the racial problem at some point. Because whether we know it or not, it's eating away at the core of the party. But we're talking about judges. At some point, we're going to have to reevaluate the way we elect our judges. We spend too much money, and we get no results.